Hey, mothers and daughters. Today, I promised you that I would be talking about things that were made by Black Americans. So, my show today is Black American Made. Now, I will give you a disclaimer that you may or may not agree on some of the things that I'm going to discuss. You may also say, well, I found out, somewhere else that was made some other kind of way. I'm just giving you the facts. I didn't go on Google and find these things. I purchased a book about a month ago, and in the book, it was talking about all of the things that were made by Black Americans. And I didn't get upset about any of it, from a sense of never knowing that those things were made. But I will tell you that it was kind of shocking to know that that same game still goes on today, that if you don't make it to the patent office, the trademark office, the courthouse to get the DBA, or to the Secretary of State to file the company name, whoever beats who there first is the winner. And I kind of feel like that's pretty much what happened with these trademarks, is that somebody beat somebody to the trademark division. And because we know that people didn't have a certain amount of money back then and others did, you know, folks lost out on their legacy. And I'm really, really big on talking about, creating a legacy through entrepreneurship and through things that you do for yourself, not anything through any other company, but something you created for yourself that you can continue to earn money on for the rest of your life and your family's life. So that was my only thing about it, is that I wish. So we'll go ahead and get into the show for today. And I'm excited to bring these to you. I've got maybe about 100 or so. So put your seatbelt on, buckle up, and let's get going.
Welcome to the Mother Daughter-ish podcast. It's your mama's favorite podcast.
And the podcast your daughter always wanted.
This is the Dawn
And Aungelique
from the 713. Houston, y'all. Get connected and stay connected weekly as new shows debut on Sunday, Wednesday, and please check out our Saturday Out and About showcase.
enjoy the show. Please subscribe, like, share, comment, and tell every woman on the planet that you know about our show.
Here's our show for today.
Make sure, if you want to support the show financially, you go to Cash App, and it's $MDI shows. Please, please, please join us over on Instagram at mother-daughter-ish _. And make sure you get attached to some of our books and our masterminds. I have one coming up next month, and I'm excited about it. I've got some great people signed up. And if you'd like to advertise, it's just a quick email away. Contactmdishows at gmail.com. Thank you in advance for listening to the show today. So, like I was telling you, we're going to be talking about Black American made products, and I am excited to present them because a lot of these, even I didn't know prior to my research, of course. So I'm just going to jump right in. I'm pretty sure I'll have a little commentary about some of these things because I'm pretty sure I own most of it. So to get started, these are some items that were created by Black inventors, started by Black inventors, thought of by Black inventors, ideas of Black inventors. So it's not just about specific things, but it's also about just even the thought process of the way particular things have been perfected. So the first thing I want to talk about that a Black American made was a folding cabinet bed. Today, if you were to see something like that, you would just call it what they call it, a wall bed. You go into a lot of efficiency apartments and you may see them in a cabin, like out in the woods or something. But in 1885, Sarah Good, Goode, became the first Black woman who made that. And she was from Chicago. She opened up a furniture store and sold it at that furniture store for the urban residents that were in that town. I hear a lot of things about Chicago, and it sounds like Chicago was really, really rich in history. And I think one day I'm going to dig a little bit deeper into that, about all the different people from Chicago, because it seems like they really kind of had some things going on that I never really, really knew about, but just find fascinating at this point. Now, listen, my favorite thing when I was a kid to eat was potato chips. Little did I know that George Crumb, Crum, was a working chef that was working at a resort in New York, and he created the potato chip. I will confess, I tried to make some homemade potato chips one time. They came out really, really good, but I think because I didn't have all the fake processed stuff on them. It just didn't give me that like when I get a bag of chips. Now, I can tell you though, in the last 10 years, I've backed away from potato chips. I used to literally, how they used to call the cookie people Cookie Monster? I used to literally be the potato chip monster because I love potato chips and I like them, whether it's sour cream and onion potato chip or a Dorito potato chip. And I know all of them are not made out of actual potatoes, they're made out of other things, but George Crumb created the whole idea of the potato chip. Gas mask, which I have purchased recently. No comment. In addition to that statement, Garrett Morgan developed the gas mask and he called it a safety hood. Can you believe that? A safety hood. A gas mask, I would say, is something good if you're traveling and doing specific type of activities and you just want to be extra safe. A gas mask is good when you are in a situation where there are certain pollution things going on. Gas mask is good if you're going to go and visit inside of a cave or do some type of exploration and you want to protect your breath. Protective mailbox. So the mailbox box as you know it was created and the design was created by Philip B. Downing. When I saw that name Downing, I was like, is he related to Will Downing? Y'all know back in the day, Will Downing and Rochelle Farrell. Ooh, they used to sing this one song that just used to just make you weak to the knees. I think I'm gonna listen to it when I'm done with this. But the protective mailbox design was made by Philip E. Downing. The blood bank. If you've ever given blood, then I want you to know the blood bank was the idea of Charles Richard Drew, who became interested in researching and preserving blood. So he studied at Columbia University and he discovered a particular method in which you can save blood and have it at a blood bank for those who are in need. That's a really, really good idea because if you think about it, if there's some kind of mass event and a lot of people get hurt and a lot of people need different types of blood, by having it in a blood bank. Here's my problem with the thought of the blood bank today. Because they have so many pills and so many potions that can mask diseases. For example, I heard somebody talking the other day and they were saying, oh, well, I'm not worried about catching anything because now they have all the pills that keep you from catching anything. If you just take this, and this, you can kind of mask it. Masking something is different, but harvesting in your body, that's something different too. So I would be wondering if I'm on a particular medication and I give blood and it masks that I have whatever, would that blood still be able to be given out even though you've hidden things? Like this girl was talking about, she had been assaulted at a party and immediately she went and had a kit done and they put her on like a whole bunch of pills and PrEP was one of them, one of the medications to keep her from contracting HIV or something like that. So it could live in her body, but just not affect her in certain kind of ways. And I was just so scared for her because she was a young girl who was invited to a party and that happened to happen to her. Now I'm going to talk about an item right now that I've never liked. I own one and give it away every time to the kids because they always ask me to buy this when they were younger. And my son just moved out and I gave him that. I told him, hurry up and take this thing. The ironing board. Now, to be very specific, it says the improved ironing board. It says in the late 19th century, the ironing board was improved by Sarah Boone. So in other words, what that says to my mind is that there was already some type of board apparatus and she possibly improved it by adding the legs, adding the things on it. But she also has her patent in the U.S. history of historical patent office. So the curved design that she has, the way that you iron the garments and all of that, that was her design, Sarah Boone, in the 19th century. Not very far ago, if you think about it, because I mean, the home security system. When I tell you every time I turn on Instagram or turn on YouTube, I see a commercial about a home security system and new ways and improved ways on how you can get security systems put in your home. And a lot of us have them and we have different types, but I'm telling you, I'm seeing so many of them that is just crazy that the commercials for them, but they always do that around the first part of the year and in the summertime and all that stuff. And I say it's just a tactic to, get everybody's home on video, because a lot of these systems, outside sources can tap in. Like a lot of them are owned. I'm not going to talk about it, but anyway. So an African-American nurse by the name of Mary Van Britten Brown devised the early security system for the home. It was literally her and her husband. They took out a patent for the system, and that was in 1969 when the home security system was presented. And she also got an award for the patent 3 years later. Now, this one right here, I don't think I learned this until I was literally in my 30s or 40s. The 3-light traffic light was created by Garrett Morgan. And he was the first Black person in Cleveland, Ohio, to own a car after he witnessed several car accidents. You know how something says, like, what's that saying? Be the change you want to see. This person here, Mr. Morgan, literally saw something tragic happen and said, you know what, if we had this like this, then this wouldn't happen. And so that's how he created the 3-light traffic system. So when I say 3 lights, I'm just talking red, yellow, green. So in other words, here are the clues. Red means stop, yellow means caution, green means go. So that was pretty, I thought, unique to find out, but I found out so late it was ridiculous. And it's just what we're taught in school. It's like in school, everything is made by everybody else and never. Anyway. Refrigerated trucks. You see a lot of those riding around, like the milk truck and the ice trucks and all these refrigerated trucks to get foods from one town to the next, or even one state to the next, one country to the next. But Frederick McKinley Jones created a roof-mounted cooling system that was used to refrigerate goods so that trucks can get them around town. And this was in look at this, the mid-1930s. He received a patent for this in 1940. So 10 years later, he finally got a patent at the U.S. Thermal Control. He co-founded the U.S. Thermal Control Company, but he got his patent in 1940, which I am just excited to know that, because now we've got so many new and improved type of frozen, trucks to carry foods and goods and services and things like that around. But this next one kind of made me excited, because I remember when I was looking into elevator doors and all that kind of jazz. So to know that the automatic elevator door was patented in 1887. When I look at these dates, it's literally unbelievable, because when I think about when my great-grandparents were born, and I'm just like, these dates are blowing my mind. But Alexander Miles took out a patent in 1887 for a mechanism that automatically could make the elevator door shafts. 1887, like, jeez. The electret microphone. Now, I don't know why they spelled it like this, ELECTRET. I'm going to assume they meant electric microphone instead of electret. But Dr. James E. West co-founded a foil it has to be the way they want to spell, because they would not spell it wrong twice. Electret microphone, okay, which was less expensive to process than typically used condensed microphones. So there's a difference in an electret, TRET, and a condensed microphone. But Dr. James E. West, a Black American, created that design and patented. Okay, so color, IBM PC monitor, and gigahertz chip. Yes, IBM. Yes, you know who owns that and who we're talking about. Bill Gates. It says, you can thank Mark Dean, a Black American, for co-inventing the color monitor. Without his invention, we'd still be typing in colorless interweb. You know what? Can you imagine you go to the internet and you type in, whatever you're going to type in, and it came up black and white, we would freak out. I love black and white photos and things like that, but internet, I would have a problem because I'm always going there to choose beautiful color pictures and things like that. This next one, I found out when I think right after, I wanted to say high school, but that's not true. I may be in my 30s when I found this out. The reason why I found it out is because it was right after I had bought all of our family these particular items, and we were just going to have fun with it when we go to the beach or go out of town or whatever. And I still have all of them up in the closet, and you know, we used to love to play with them. But anyway, the Super Soaker. You know, summer wouldn't even be the same without having a Super Soaker when you were a kid or with your kids. Lonnie Johnson invented this. Okay. He was an aerospace engineer for NASA. Do you know that this man, he had to fight for his rights for us to even know this information? I remember when the lawsuit was going on. We're talking just 10 years ago. I tell you, if you don't fight for what you own, it'll be just taken from you and given to other people to fulfill their legacy. The tissue holder. Aren't we thankful? Are we thankful for a tissue holder? You know, because every time I go in the bathroom and my daughter has taken the tissue off of the little tissue holder, I always look like, but why? When we got such a cute little tissue holder right there, and you know, we got all kinds of holders. It's like, why would you want to sit it on the counter? Or like, why? And I think it's just laziness. But Mary Davidson invented both the tissue holder while disabled from a multiple sclerosis. So she was disabled and had MS, and she created the tissue holder. So that tells you right there, nothing literally can stop you from doing what it is that you want to do or that you're supposed to be doing to create the legacy that you want to be able to be who you are. And I know all of these people that I'm listing, I know their families are just proud, and I hope that they are still living off of the proceeds from all of these inventions and just as wealthy as they want to be. Now, you and I both know that's not true, but a girl can wish and dream. Well, this is one of my little favorite things, and I like it organic and without salt and just plain, just homemade peanut butter. So peanut butter. It says that everyone and their dog can thank George Washington Carver for inventing peanut butter. They used to say that dogs couldn't eat peanut butter because it was too thick and would get caught in their throat and they could die. Now, see, why would they thank everybody and their dog? Now, that's some different kind of wording. But anyway, the next thing is the laser face coat. Patricia Bath, BATH, an ophthalmologist and laser scientist, invented a device that was teaching you to remove the cataracts and revive patients' eyesight. Okay, so that's pretty cool that she created that. Automatic gear shift in your car. Richard Spikes created the automatic gear shift, which is helping people to drive, and especially to drive up hills. My daughter often asks me in the car, what does the L stand for next to the drive, the reverse, and all that? And I'm like, if you do the L, it'll help us to climb up mountains, like when we're in Colorado and all that stuff. Clothing dryer. Now, that's something that we've all come to appreciate, especially if you wash once a week. That the clothing dryer. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. I am a girl who could live off the grid, no phone, no access to anything. Put a line up, and I could dry my clothes outside after I've washed them in the house in a bucket or whatever, with homemade detergent like a baking soda and water. And for the white clothes, baking soda, water, and vinegar. Hang my clothes on a clothing line, let a good old wind come through, bring them in, freshly fold them, and put them up. I could live like that forever. So I love the fact that we have washers and dryers, but if I was off the grid, I could care less. Hashtag goals off the grid. Clothing dryer was created by George T. Sampson. He created the clothes dryer in 1892. Again, these years are just making me go like, wow. The dustpan, I love that little thing. The dustpan, we can thank Lloyd P. Ray. Helps us easily when we're sweeping and doing things. Just use the dustpan 5 minutes ago, maybe 30 minutes ago, because I've been on here longer than 5 minutes. So the folding chair, I have tons of those. John Purdy, P-U-R-D-Y. I've heard that name several times, the last name Purdy. He created the folding chair. Golf tees for all you golf enthusiasts out there. Golf tees. The golf was a totally different sport before Dr. You hear that? Dr. George Grant came along. So he created the golf tees. Some of you love this. I know if my daughter was in here, she'd be screaming. The ice cream scooper was created by Alfred L. Cralell. So that's C-R-A-L-L-E, Craley. I'll say Craley. Invented the ice cream scooper. So for all of you who love to eat ice cream, I gave it up years ago. So I remember how great it was, but I don't remember the taste. I just know that I used to love ice cream. Now I mostly look for gelato. I love gelato. When I'm in Mexico, I love gelato. Italy, I love gelato. Around here, I've been trying to find some authentic gelato that's homemade and not processed and brought in. No luck yet. Well, the lawnmower was created by John Albert Burr, B-U-R-R. The only last name I've ever heard Burr was Bill Burr, the comedian. So that's interesting. So John Albert Burr fully made over the lawnmower, bringing it to have a better way to cut close to buildings. And it was the design, basically what they're saying. So there may have been some different things, but he created the design, the rotary blade, the shape of it, and all of those type of things. The lawn sprinkler. I know my mom has a great sprinkler system. She likes it. The invention was created by Joseph A. Smith, and definitely helped people who needed to water their lawn and keep the grass nice and green and lush. The modern toilet. Where would we be without a toilet? See, I know where I would be. I did mission trips in Honduras. We had to do number 1, 2, 3, and 4. All of that behind a shabby curtain into a hole that they had dropped concrete down into, that you didn't know if a fly, a snake, or all of the above would be in it. So you better just get out what you're going to get out and get out of there, because I'm going to tell you, there were many times that I was like praying, I hope there's not a snake in there. And then you don't want to look down in it because so much. Thank you, Thomas Elkins, for the porcelain throne. The mop. I'm a little upset with mops nowadays. I got a problem with mops, but I do thank Thomas W. Stewart for creating the mop. But you used to be able to buy a nylon mop, and now you cannot get a nylon mop. A nylon mop mops up so much better than the mops that they have today. And I'm just like, am I going to have to go on Amazon and order a nylon mop? Like, what are we doing here? The reversible baby stroller. William Richardson created the first baby stroller. Okay. And it had independent wheels, so you could reverse. And all that means is that a stroller that instead of it just going straight, you can take it and swivel it and turn it and all that. Look, now they got strollers that can hold the baby's iPad. They got strollers that can hold mama's coffee. They got strollers that'll hold your cell phone, your cell phone, your coffee, your iPad. It holds everything. And then the baby is almost like a treat. The strollers look like little cars. They don't even look like they really for the baby no more. But I was in the store. We talking years ago, before we even owned tablets and iPads. Listen, let me tell you how long ago it was. I was in Mervyn's. Yes, Mervyn's. Open. I was in Mervyn's department store, and a little baby that looked like to be about 2 years old was playing on a little tablet thing. And that baby was playing on that tablet. And at that time, I was saying, I wish I owned a tablet, because this was in the 90s. I did not own a tablet then. I think I got my first iPad, because I never had a tablet. I always had an iPad. And I might want to take that back, because I did have an Amazon thing, maybe 2009, something like that. But that baby had it going on, way smarter than me. Baby is probably at MIT right now or something. Logomania was created by Dapper Dan. Okay, we know who Dapper Dan is. And so he took the logo of designs and brands and used them for apparel. He used it for furniture and more. Now, if you don't know who Dapper Dan is, you might want to go and Google Dapper Dan because according to the Black Inventions Museum, all of these creators and inventors are listed in there. That was one of the places I went to get a list of items that Black Americans had made. I went over to the Black Inventors magazine list, and I didn't find it on Google. I found it at their actual website, because in the book that I purchased, it said that if you ever wanted to visit or go to the Black Inventors Museum, you could go there. So then I went directly to their website. Google has everything, of course. However, I don't just depend on just going to Google for everything, because two things I've learned about Google: it's very biased, but then also it's biased depending on what zip code you're typing in from. If you ever go down to the end of your computer or your phone or whatever, it tells you that it's going to give you the information that's within the reach of your zip code. I don't want that. I want global information. I want to be able to type in something from my house and it tells me that I can find it in Australia or whatever. I don't want that. So of course it says that a Black American was responsible for paper, was responsible for chess. And you hear this saying a lot: I'm not playing checkers, I'm playing chess. So that was created by a Black American. The alphabet, created by Black Americans. And medicine, created by Black Americans. The serving tray was created by a Black American with the last name of Walker. I could not find the first name. That was puzzling. Airplane propeller, created by James S. Adams. Now, this one right here excited me because I was like, hey, made me actually want something. The biscuit cutter by A.P. Ashbourne. The coin changer. I use a coin changer every year. I go to Coinstar and turn in my change. I used to think that they let you do that for free. And then the first time I did it years and years and years ago, they charge a percentage. So I'm like, they really making really good money. It's just like using CashApp or anything else. So I was like, whatever. James A. Bauer was responsible for that. The rotary machine. Andrew J. Beard was responsible for that. And so what we're talking about here is these are items that in my heart, I hope that the legacy of their families are being paid for this. Like there was a big uproar maybe 3 years ago about the Aunt Jemima pancake box and that they no longer wanted that logo on there. And I just was asking, was her family making money? Because now that they've removed the face, does that then mean we cut the family out of all the proceeds and money? That's not right. Anyway, the car coupler, Andrew J. Beard. The letterbox, G.E. Beckett. Stainless steel pads, Alfred Benjamin. Torpedo discharger, H. Bradbury. And here's one thing I don't like. I don't like when they list people, but they don't list their whole first, middle, and last, or first and last names, because this is how things get twisted up. Like, for example, when I was doing the genealogy on my last name, I realized that my name went through 7 versions. So my name started at D4 Bay, went through 7 versions, and then got down to how my name is spelled now. That ticks me off just a little bit, because I think that's just a great way to cut you out of your legacy, my opinion. I do want a flamethrower though, so I was just trying to figure out who makes the flamethrower, because I do want one, but anyway, I digress. Disposable syringes, Field Brooks. So if you've ever had to take shots for diabetes or had a shot for anything, the disposable syringes were made by Field Brooks. Corn planter, Henry Blair. Cotton planter, Henry Blair. So Henry Blair had it going on. Street sweepers, C.B. Brooks. I was just talking to a person the other day, and they were saying that they have a street sweeper that sweeps all of the parking lots for all of the Walmarts in a certain part of Alabama. I think it was in Birmingham or something like that. And I was just like, that's very, very smart. And they were telling me that they were getting ready to pick up some more contracts and things like that, and that they wanted me to help them to write some proposals and some thank you, type of letters, because they're not good at writing or whatever. And their first contract was a fluke, so they didn't have to do all of that years and years ago. But now people are asking for more information. But anyway, I was very proud of these 2 brothers. Brothers as in they are born from the same mother and father, but they're also brothers. The horse bridle bit, L.F. Brown. The horseshoe, I saw how they made horseshoes and I was so impressed. I was in Honduras and they were showing us how they fit the shoes for the horse. It looked so painful, but it was a beautiful process. Oscar E. Brown is responsible for that. The train alarm. I have a video that's going to be coming up this Saturday of my train ride that I did in Southeast Arkansas in Eureka Springs. And let me tell you, it was amazing. I got a chance to get a photo with the conductor. He was awesome and sweet and just let me do it and was just like, oh, yeah, sure. He didn't look at me like, why? He just was like, yes, come right on. And he was all dressed in his attire. And I was so impressed and excited. And the train ride was fun. In a couple of hours, we got to put the pennies on the rail and the train ran over them. And then we picked up the pennies. I still have mine. It's just little things excite me. Also made by Black American was the image converter, the radiation detector. Now that's important. The radiation detector is very important because if you want to check the radiation in your body, yeah, that's very, very important, which is in every airport now. So paints and stains. Okay, that's a very, very, very important. So Paints and Stains by George W. Carver. He was a busy man. Lotions and Soaps, George W. Carver. Very, very busy man, very smart. Automatic Fishing Reel, George Cook. Ice Cream Mold, A.L. Crayley. Busy because they created the ice cream scooper earlier. Should have put those two together. Printing Press. That's another place I want to visit is the Printing Press Museum in Washington, D.C. I've got that on my bucket list and a couple of other museums that I have on my bucket list. But the Printing Press Museum, we have one here in Houston. Matter of fact, back in the day, when I say that, I feel 200 years old. But we used to do a networking event there with a couple of great people. And we would always meet at the Houston Printing Press. And if my memory serves me right, it's literally, I believe, in the Heights area on Dallas Street or something. But yeah, they have a printing press museum. We used to meet there and I was always such a nerd and excited about it. The envelope seal, or maybe you call it envelope seal, F.W. Leslie. The laser fuels, Leslie Lee. Pressure cooker, still have pressure cookers. We still do a lot with pressure cookers today. Maurice W. Lee. I often wonder at KFC, I haven't eaten there in years, but at KFC, I often wonder their original chicken, if it's actually breaded, seasoned, and cooked in a pressure cooker. That's my mom's favorite chicken from Kentucky. Is not the crispy one, but was the pressure cooker. I've given her all the why I don't eat there, and I'm hoping she listened. Window cleaner. I thank you, A.L. Lewis, for making window cleaner. However, I now make my own window cleaner along with all my own supplies. If you heard my first video on vinegar and how it's made, but that's what I use for window cleaner now is just straight vinegar and water. Portable pencil sharpener. That reminds me, when I went to the store today to get my jars, my mason jars to put all my teas and stuff in to line them up very beautifully in the refrigerator, I forgot to get another glass spray bottle to put some more Windex in it because I wanted to use that for this coming up weekend. I was going to be doing some stuff. Portable pencil sharpener, John L. Love. You know what? I have a portable pencil sharpener and I almost threw it away because it's one of those manual ones that they used to screw to the wall in school, grade school, and you could go over there and sharpen your pencil and turn. I almost threw one away and then something was like, girl, don't throw it away. Maybe once you get 2 screws and put it on your wall, and you may never use it, but it at least, have a little bit of nostalgia. Yeah, I'm gonna save it. It's red and cute. The fire extinguisher. I have one, and I'm going to encourage you to have one as well. I have one in my car that's good for electrical fires, and I have one in my kitchen that's good for grease fires. I also have one in my garage that's just good for any type of fire. It's bigger. The one in my car is a baby one, appropriate for a small car. And then the one in the kitchen is appropriate for the size kitchen that I have. And then the big one in the garage is appropriate for, a house type of thing. But I do know how to use it. I do have them. They're not expensive. I say if you don't have anything, have one in your kitchen because things can happen, but you need to be able to get to it no matter where it happens. I mean, Just imagine you're in your living space and you leave a candle on and it bursts. I've seen candles blow up. The cheap ones, not the good tested ones, but cheap ones blow up and could cause a fire if you leave it on and leave the house. I'm so freaked out about somebody leaving a candle on that I annoy everybody about it, and I know it. Shoelacing machine, Jan. Now this last name is Matt Zellinger. That almost looked like Renee Zellweger, but it's Jan Matzlinger. Child, these last names. The Rocket Catapult by Hugh McDonald. The Hairbrush by Linda Newman. I like the way she spelled her first name, Lyda, like Lida. I would call her Lida, not Linda. So I'm going to re-say her name. The Hairbrush by Lida Newman. I kind of like that, Lida. Okay, Lida, all right. I like that. So weird. When I was a kid, I used to want my name to be Linda. And I don't know why, because that's so plain and weird. And I do not even look like a Linda. So for me to have wanted my name to be Linda, it's just like, what was I going through as a kid? Heating furnace, Alice H. Parker. This right here, I'll never forget the first time I saw this. I think I might have been in elementary school. And every now and then, this used to come by the school, and they would let us go outside into the play yard and look at it. But y'all, the blimp was made by J.F. Pickering. Now, we have often not just said blimp, but we have often said Goodyear blimp, because Goodyear tires used to always hire out a blimp. I haven't seen them do it in the past 10 years, but you could always catch a Goodyear blimp. They would be advertising. I honestly just think the reason we don't see it anymore is simply because the blimp is now not a effective way to advertise, which I kind of find sad that it's not an effective way to advertise. And now we're so weird about seeing things in the atmosphere that we don't even play like that anymore. Hand soap. Now, hand soap was made by W.B. Purvis, and fountain pen was made by W.B. Purvis. Let me tell you something. I would like to watch a lot of kings and queens movies and emperors and empress and just all kinds of things like that. I literally the other day spent my entire weekend cleaning my office and watching The Vikings of Valhalla. Okay, if you don't know me personally, there's two type of men that I like. I'm gonna be very clear. There's two type of men that I like. And one is a caveman and the other is a Viking. They say people don't have a type. Yeah, we do. So what I mean when I say that is I like beards, I like hairy men, I like thick muscle men, I like tall men, I like men who are in charge of stuff. Okay. There's a saying that I love to say that Jill Scott, she just messed my head up with it, and it says, if you can tell me what to do, then you can tell me what to do. And that says everything. Now, let me get back to what I was saying about this fountain pen. I love those type of movies because in those movies, they always wrote with these pens that the ink would be sitting there in these little shallots, and they would take the pen, dip it in there, and then ease the ink back a little bit, and then back into the pen so that it would slowly drip to the front, and then they would use the most beautiful, almost calligraphy type of handwriting. So I got very excited when I saw that W.B. Purvis had created the fountain pen. I was like, that was exciting. I'm a pen girl too. I love certain types of pens and certain types of ink. I remember, this is going to sound crazy. Most people ask folks, well, when you first started earning your first piece of money, what was the first thing you bought? For me and the person that was my right-hand person in business, I bought us pens, cross pens, CROSS. I paid over $200 for those pens each. It meant that much to me. I can't sit and explain right now why it meant that much to me, but that was my major item. That was before I bought my favorite car. That was before I already had a home and all that stuff. But the first thing I bought us was pens. Okay, I'll tell you what the symbolism for me was. The symbolism was that we were going to be signing so many contracts, and that's what literally happened. I knew that we would not go to any business meetings that we were signing contracts without our $200 each pens. I still have my cross pen. I promise you. And I would be willing to bet my pen, I bet you she still got her pen too. I bet you, because that's how we built. That's just how we're built. I mean, but that was my first item that I purchased when I realized, okay, now I'm earning a certain amount of money. I bought those cross pens and I gifted her a cross pen. Mine was gold and hers was silver. That's what she likes, silver. I like gold. The dustpan. I thought we talked about the dustpan up there, but down here it says that IP Ray created the dustpan. I'm going to go back and look because it seems like I already had said the dustpan, and I know I listed somebody else as Oh, I know what it was. It was the improvement of the dustpan. So it says that Lloyd P. Ray, okay, created the dustpan to keep us from sweeping things up under the rug, but then it was improved. So a lot of the things that I'm talking about, okay, I have to make that disclaimer as well, that a lot of the things that I'm talking about also were improved items. So IP Ray for the dustpan as well. I wonder who got the patent on it first. Insect destroyer gun, AC Richardson. I need one of those coming up in the spring. Sugar refinement in relay. I could tell that's a Cajun name. RILLIEUX Relu. Yeah, that's Cajun. So that's probably somebody from Louisiana. The cellular phone, Henry Sampson. Huh. Interesting that we have a Samsung phone, but Henry Sampson created. I'm not going to go there. The curtain rod by S.R. Scranton. I thank you for that because I have the most beautiful curtain rods in certain places of my home. So I love that S.R. Scranton. Okay, let me say this name right. S.R. Scottron, Scottron. So it's Scott Run created the curtain rod. And then the urinalysis machine, Dewey Sanderson. We thank goodness for the urinalysis machine because people can be able to check their health through that. The player piano, Joseph Dickerson. The arm for record player. I'm looking at my record player right now. So thank you, Joseph Dickerson. I'll actually be playing some records on the next show because I'm going to be talking about how vinyl is made. And I just went to a wonderful record shop and picked up some vinyl records. And I'm going to play my records while I show you and talk to you about how they're made. I bought the most amazing vinyl records. I spent so much money on vinyl records. And when I say that, I'm talking about they were between 5 cents and 25 cents. And that's how many records I purchased, about $65 worth. So I got so many records and 45s and 78s, but I can't wait to share them all with you on the next show. The Doorstop by O. Dorsey. The Doorknob by O. Dorsey. Thank you. Photo print wash by Clatonia J. Dorty. See this whole name right here. Okay, first name Clatonia J. Dorticus. Photo embossing machine, same person. I'm not repeating that name again. The Guitar by Robert Fleming Jr. Wonder if they get forever proceeds on that. The Motor by Jay Gregory. Thermal hair curlers. I have some hair curlers by Solomon Harper. Oh, by God. The Lantern by Michelle Harney. Gas burner, B.F. Jackson. Kitchen table, H.A. Jackson. Bicycle frame, awesome invention, Isaac R. Jordan. The wrench, I found an old wrench the other day in my garage. I was like, this wrench looked 1,000 years old. But the wrench was designed and developed by John A. Johnson. The eye protector, P. Johnson. Egg beater, W. Johnson's, a lot of Johnsons, they might have been the same family cooking up things. The Air Conditioning Unit by Frederick M. Jones. Two-cycle gas engine, also Frederick M. Jones. Frederick M. Jones was busy because then he created the internal combustible engine and the starter generator. Frederick Jones also created the refrigerator controls. Frederick M. Johnson's family should be rich for the next until there's no more humans and only robots. You understand? And then the robots that were created for their family's name should be rich. Anyway, Clothing Dresser by John H. Jordan. Bottle Caps, James and Long, no last names. Electronic Lamp, Latimer and Nichols. I don't like when they do that because that makes me feel weird. The Stair Climber and Wheelchair by Rufus Weaver. Fire Escape Ladder, J.B. Winters. Telephone Transmitter, Granville T. Wood. That's what I like when they name the person and all that. Electric Cutoff Switch, Granville T. Woods was still busy. The Relay Instrument, Granville T. Woods was busy. He was also busy with the telephone system. He was busy with the mech brake. He was also busy with the galvanic battery. He was busy with the roller coaster. Hey, I love roller coasters. Love them still, and I'm 50 and I love them. Can't wait to get on the next crazy one. The auto air breaker, he was busy with that. And then we went over to Paul E. Williams, who created the helicopter. You know, I used to think in my 20s I wanted to get my helicopter license. And then I was like, it's expensive. That's the only thing that stopped me, is that it was so expensive, but I would have done it. Actual Ice Cream, Augustus Jackson. Pacemaker. My godmother used to have a pacemaker. She taught me how to work it, because back then you used to dial it in through the phone and test it. I learned how to do that. Otis Boykins did that. Space Shuttle Retrieval Arm, W.M. Harwell. Programmable Remote Controllers, Joseph N. Jackson. Video Commander, Joseph N. Jackson. He was busy. Multi-stage rocket was created by Adolf Shams. When I tell you I saw this list, it exhausted me, because a lot of this I'm just learning at my young age of 50, and it kind of bothers me that nobody told us these things in school. If I could get my education back and just revoke the whole grading system I ever got, revoke every, you know what, I'm just gonna say rebuke. I'm not even gonna say revoke, but rebuke every grade I ever got, rebuke every class I had to sit in, rebuke every book I had to have, rebuke every book I had to. I'm not even gonna lie, I really ain't never packed no books, because I always had a boy packing my books for me, whether he was a friend or he liked me or didn't. I never packed books. So I really have to confess and take that little small white lie back. I never packed a book. I never had a backpack. I never needed one. I never even asked anybody to pack my books. It was just automatic. And we walked to school every time. We walked to elementary school, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 to 10 blocks away with a group of kids. We walked to the high school to get on the bus to get to the middle school. And I walked from my house 10 to 15 minutes down the straight street to my high school. And I never packed a book. So I ain't gonna tell that lie again. I never had to pack a book. And I'm so thankful for every person who packed my books for me. I never owned a backpack. And that's just what that was. I am definitely interested in looking into other inventions. The book that I got, it said that there were more, but those were the ones that they could prove. And so that's the only thing I wanted to talk about, are the things that we could prove. Again, I don't like when they don't list first, middle, and last name, because as you have family members that want to look up the legacy of their family, they're not going to really find, the things that they really, really want to find, because it's going to be hidden behind, how do we know that's your particular name? But that's my show today on things that have been made by Black Americans. I am so happy. 1, I'm proud. 2, I'm excited. 3, I'm curious. 4, half of these items, 90% of them I have in my house, or I've experienced them, like propellers and helicopter. I've been in a helicopter before. I'll tell you something, real quick story before I end. My first helicopter ride was in Palacios, Texas. I used to do seminars out in Palacios, Texas, and I saw they had a flyer that coming up one weekend, they were going to be giving free helicopter rides because they were having a festival or some kind. It was just like a neighborhood get to know and things for the kids, but they were going to be doing helicopter rides and that you could come and get a helicopter ride for free. Well, I took somebody with me because I was like, I don't want to do it by myself. Come do it with me. I think it was my son I took with me. And when we got there, he was like, I'm not getting on the helicopter because they was taking you on a ride from the fairgrounds over the lake and the Palacios River and all that stuff. My son was like, Do you know that I got in the helicopter and the man didn't put no seatbelt on me? He didn't tell me to put a seatbelt on, and then the door was open. Now that I think about it, my life was in such danger and didn't even know it because I was so excited to get in the helicopter and to be able to take that off of my bucket list and say, I rode in a helicopter. And I probably was in my early 30s or something. I don't know how old I was. I probably was 35, something like that. But it was very exciting. I'll say I was between 30 and 35. So it was something that is still today very memorable to me. And I love that I can always say I rode in a helicopter. And that wasn't the only time I rode in one, but for some reason, that's the only time I remembered. And you know how the memory plays tricks on you sometimes. It could be the only time I've ever written in one. I don't remember. I just know that that one is the one that got logged into the mark that off my bucket list type of thing. So, I hope that you have enjoyed the show today. I hope that you are subscribed to our show, that you have hit the notification bell, that you have supported us in some kind of way. So here's the thing, and think about this with all of the people that you watch on YouTube or anywhere else. Support does not come in any specific kind of way. It comes however you want to present it. When you like somebody's show, when you subscribe to somebody's show, when you comment, it's a beautiful thing. By subscribing to the show, we have an audience that we can do more things for. Like, I'm waiting to get to a particular number before I start doing live shows. Do you know how excited I am preparing myself this year, 2023, to be doing live shows where I can talk back and forth with you and read your comments live and write in, real time. I am super excited about that. That's the reason I keep asking you to subscribe, turn your notification bell on, comment so we'll know you're there, share it with every woman on the planet. Like, what we did is we created a show for every woman on the planet. That's our focus. We love to have men listening to our show. We love educating men on what we want, what we talk about, what we like, what we do, where we go, how we do it, why we do it. But our show is mostly geared toward women. 99.99999% is geared toward women. And the reason why it is that way is because I'm speaking from what I know. I've been a woman for 50 years. And so that's what I know how to do, is to be a woman. And I don't try to be something else that I am not, or that I don't understand or don't know anything about. But I'm asking, they say you ask not, you have not. I'm asking that you please be sure that you are subscribed to the show. Please be sure that you are informed when we put new shows out. And the reason why I say that is because this year I'm going to go live, and I'm going to do live shows where we can have a conversation back and forth, where I can bring you in and you can talk, and you can dial in and give your comments and all those type of things. That's what I'm doing. I'm hoping that we will have it done on our 2nd year anniversary by September. So when I plan to do something, I don't just jump right in. I have to, all the bells and whistles have to be together. And I will tell you right now, our goal is 10,000 people. once I get to that magic number of 10,000, which we're not far from, then we will start putting the things in place to start going live and being able to talk back and forth to our sponsors and all of those type of things as well. We've got a lot of new sponsors that are coming into the show that we are creating commercials for right now. I have people that are wanting to support us on all types of aspects. And so that's why I ask you to make sure that you are subscribed. Join us over on YouTube. I do post when, we have a new show that goes up, and I explain that to you. Haven't been really good at posting in December and January because it's been, when I tell you I've been busy, traveling and working and doing all kinds of connecting and all that, it's been busy. But after January, it'll pick back up to where we're posting more often. But it's like a lot of people, the numbers are down, for people watching shows in December and January. Even me, I don't watch a lot of TV or anything in December and January because I'm planning my end of the year, and then I'm activating the first part of the year of what the rest of the tone is going to set. So, the thing that we've been talking about today is all about leaving a legacy. So when you're leaving a legacy for your family, that can include so many things. My specific focus as an entrepreneur is I talk about leaving a legacy through entrepreneurship. And that is my jam. That is my sweet spot. I don't try to, again, talk about things that I'm not familiar with. Like, I know for a fact that when it comes to business, I could talk about that for 45 hours straight. I have something so exciting that's coming up in the spring that it is going to knock your socks off. I have been researching it 3 to 4 hours a day, and I finally figured out the secret sauce of how to do it. And when I tell you I'm excited, it's actually an understatement. I'm going to do the first test run in a few weeks here, like in February, just to see how it goes. But it's going to add such a spicy excitement to one of our segments that I'm going to do. So anyway, today's show has been about Black American inventions, creations, improvements, ideas, all of those type of things. Again, a lot of these are things that I'm finding out right when you are. Again, support our show, mother-daughter-ish _ on Instagram, CashApp. I thank you for watching. And as I always like to say, bye for now. And all that means is I'll be back. My next show is on how vinyl is made for records. And I'm going to play some records for you. If you'd like to advertise, it's contactmdishows at gmail.com. Make sure in the subject line you put ad. So that way I will notice you. Bye.